From 90.7 WFAE, this is Newsworthy for Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. I'm Eric Teal. Charlotte City Manager Marcus Jones has proposed a nearly 7% property tax increase next year. He says all of that money will go to the police and fire departments. Steve Harrison has more.
Most police officers would receive a 10% pay raise under the manager's proposed budget. Firefighters would see their pay go up by 7%. Jones said police officers are getting more than firefighters because Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police has more vacancies.
So we have a problem with attracting and retaining police officers. We don't have the same problem with attracting and retaining firefighters.
The budget also allows for CMPD officers to take their patrol vehicles home, and it provides more money for dashboard cameras. If the City Council approves the budget, the owner of a home with a tax value of $360,000 would pay about $68 more a year. Jones stressed that this is only the second time in 7 years the city has raised the property tax rate, although rates and fees for water and sewer have gone up more frequently. And starting July 1st, the general sales tax in Mecklenburg County will increase by 1 cent to 8.25% to pay for the city's multi-billion-dollar transportation plan. Steve Harrison, WFAE News.
Charlotte City Council is considering bringing back red light cameras. Kenneth Lee reports.
The city could revisit red light cameras for the first time in more than 2 decades. The program started at 24 intersections in 1999 before ending in 2006. From 2020 to 2025, more than 2,700 crashes with an injury were reported at signal intersections in Charlotte. 63 were fatal or caused serious injuries. Leaders are weighing 2 options, having the city cover upfront costs or pursuing an interlocal agreement with Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools that will require action from the General Assembly. Officials say installing cameras at 10 intersections would cost about $600,000 a year. The city's Council Public Safety Committee had planned to take up the issue Monday afternoon, but the meeting was canceled due to a lack of quorum. Kenneth Lee, WFAE News.
The City of Charlotte will continue to run the Charlotte area transit system for at least 6 months past the date it was supposed to pass control to a new transit authority. Officials at City Council's Transportation Committee meeting said Monday that the new Metropolitan Transit Authority won't be ready to take over the transit system's operations on July 1st as planned. That's when a new 1% sales tax goes into effect to fund transit in Mecklenburg County. The MPTA is asking the city to keep running CATS until January. Councilmember Ed Driggs said the important thing is to keep trains and buses running.
All I'm saying is we have a desire to make sure the service delivery continues. They're not ready to do it. It's not a perfect situation, and we're trying to figure out how it works.
Some council members said they want to make the transit authority's leaders brief council on their progress, but the city attorney said council can't compel the authority. Mecklenburg County is adding to its leadership team. County Manager Mike Bryant has named LaShawn Carter as Assistant County Manager. Carter has served as Chief Equity and Inclusion Officer for more than 4 years. In his new role, he'll oversee countywide engagement strategies, lead the Office of Equity and Inclusion, and manage high-impact projects. Bryant calls Carter a strategic leader who will help strengthen both county operations and community partnerships. The National Park Service says it'll start removing tree debris from thousands of acres along the Blue Ridge Parkway to reduce wildfire risk. WFDD's David Ford reports.
The project is part of the federal response to the damage caused by Hurricane Helene in western North Carolina and Virginia. Officials want to reduce the wildfire threat by removing flammable organic materials, often referred to as fuel, from nearly 3,000 acres of parkland. Work is scheduled to begin in late summer. Once it starts, visitors and local residents can anticipate traffic delays due to one-lane closures. Park officials have organized 3 informational meetings this week in Galax, Asheville, and Boone for those interested in learning more about the project. The National Park Service hopes to complete the initial fuel removal work by spring 2027. I'm David Ford.
Winthrop University is planning to expand into Fort Mill, marking the town's first higher education campus. Town leaders and university officials have signed an agreement to move forward with the project, which could open by fall of 2027. The campus would offer programs for young children, high school students, and adult learners, including dual enrollment and graduate courses. The new campus would open in an historic building on White Street beside Fort Mill Town Hall. Just as Spirit Airlines exits the Charlotte Douglas International Airport as the company shuts down, JetBlue says it's returning. JetBlue officials say the airline plans to restart service July 9th with 3 daily flights from Charlotte to Fort Lauderdale. JetBlue left Charlotte in 2024, citing low demand. The North Carolina Forest Service said Monday that the burn ban has been lifted from 81 counties, including Catawba, Lincoln, and Cleveland. However, in the Charlotte area, Cabarrus, Iredell, Gaston, Mecklenburg, and Union counties remain under the burn ban until further notice. A sharp rise in immigration enforcement arrests across Charlotte has left many families scrambling financially. They're turning to online fundraisers to try to bring loved ones home. Julian Berger has more.
When Luis Duque's partner, Oscar, was detained by immigration agents in February,
Can I please just say bye, please, just in case?
it happened fast.
We were on our way to work, and not even maybe like 5 minutes after we left his house, we got put over near the Bojangles Coliseum off Independence. They took him, and within like 20 minutes, he was already at the ICE Detention Center on Tyvola.
Within hours, Oscar was transferred out of state to a detention center in Georgia. That same day, Duque says he started thinking about money.
I already knew in my head that lawyer fees are pretty extensive. I knew that we were going to be looking at a couple $1,000s worth of just lawyer fees.
So he created a GoFundMe. So far, that fundraiser has brought in nearly $14,000 from almost 300 donations. But Duque says the cost keeps growing.
Everything else has just been his commissary, the phone, they do bill you. Although he was detained, the bills didn't stop.
New data shows more than 6,500 immigration arrests in North Carolina since President Trump took office. That's nearly twice the number of arrests made during the previous 2 years combined. Immigration attorney Jamila Espinosa says many families are not prepared for the financial reality when their loved one is detained.
The next question is, how am I going to pay for this? Cost of living is very expensive, and so people don't have just this expendable income. Many times the people being detained are the primary breadwinners.
Unlike criminal cases, there are no public defenders in immigration court. Families must pay for everything themselves.
On average, an immigration attorney could charge anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 for representation for someone that is in a detained setting. What many don't know is there's very limited bond companies because of the risk of immigration, and bond and immigration court has to be paid in full.
Espinosa says bonds can range from a few $1,000s to tens of thousands of dollars. All of that is forcing families to turn to crowdfunding. For Rebecca Rodriguez, that reality hit immediately after her father was detained in January. Fernando was the family's main provider.
Without him, it was kind of just like, well, how do we get him out? He makes the money, so if we need money to get him out, it was kind of like what do we do?
Rodriguez started a GoFundMe and eventually raised more than $21,000 from almost 500 donations. After 38 days in detention, her father was released. She said her family has already spent around $24,000 on legal fees. She says the fundraiser has made that possible, but his fight in immigration court continues, and more money is needed.
All I raised was enough for him to be seen in front of a judge to say, hey, he's a good man. Can I have him home? And now I still need to make double that to keep him here where he belongs, which is with me.
Both Rodriguez and Duque say the support they've received has been overwhelming.
It's been an overwhelming blessing to get the amount of donations that I had, even if it was $5 that they donated, like that's $5 that we didn't have the day before.
Espinosa says the results of crowdfunding can be uplifting.
And it really goes to show that there is still really strong values in our community, in our society, that people are willing to give someone else a fighting chance to remain in the United States.
But for many families, the harsh reality is that whether a loved one gets out of detention at all, much less whether they get to stay in the U.S., boils down to money. Julian Berger, WFAE News.
And for Tuesday, May 5th, that's Newsworthy. I'm Eric Teal.